won't stop, never give up. Okay, T, talking to Donald. I'm getting really excited talking to this guy. I feel like it's been kind of a long time coming, and I don't necessarily think that he's known as being too much of an emotional guy, but he is a family guy, and he is really happy to like make a connection. So he's just like kind of like, kind of like stimulated in a good way, little mild tear. Okay, cool. Let me go ahead and ask him how he ends up passing. So the first thing he gives me is he makes me feel like a house, and you'll be able to see what I'm drawing as I'm drawing when you see your recording show up on YouTube. So he makes me feel, oh gosh, okay, hold on. Makes me feel like it's something medical, something underlying. It almost feels like a sickness in a way, but I don't think it really affects us until the end. And then he makes me feel like we're at home. Maybe I don't get my classic signs and symbols of being taken care of, so I'm just going to start small. I think maybe we're home for the majority of this. I think this is something underlying, and maybe I don't want to say partial responsibility yet, but there's a chance. But there's like we didn't get a chance to say goodbye because it happened too quickly. We kind of knew it might be a potential, so there seems to be some sort of situation, like whether it was an underlying sickness or an underlying stubbornness, or maybe we couldn't get him to go to the doctor or whatever it was. But he makes me and then he makes me feel something else. Okay, and now he shows me a medical bed, which is my sign symbol, that he may have gone down in stages and been unable to get around toward the very end of his life. He also makes me feel like he wasn't necessarily alone. Okay, so maybe he was unable to respond. You didn't feel like you got a chance to underline for sure, but it wasn't at home. Okay, and like maybe we didn't get a chance to respond in the way that we wanted, or communicate the way we wanted. Shows me a medical bed, so we deteriorate in stages. Maybe he was at home until we didn't get a chance to be at home, but he talks about this being some sort of like almost sickness, and when it goes down in that final steps, then that's what kind of makes it so he can't like respond, or maybe he just went kind of within for the last couple days, and we want to know if he could hear us. But he doesn't make me feel alone. Even if he's cold, my hands are warm, so I feel like I wasn't alone toward the end. Whew. On my parchment you have the sun in the corner, and she and her mommy used to sing "You Are My Sunshine." Oh, I hear that. You are so sweet. TJ said died of a sudden heart attack while welding at work. Oh my gosh, did he have this underlying like, oh man. Hold on. Wait. Pause. Does this person... Okay, I was going to say glasses, but a welding helmet does not look like glasses. Okay. Let me work this out a little bit, because you have a lot of people on the other side, and I am also not going to nibble at the first thing. I want to know, okay? So this person gives me two things. One, says they're like a father figure. We didn't get a chance to say goodbye. You tell me, yeah, I think underlying he went to the doctor a week before. I was 8. This was 48 years ago. Okay. I don't know who this is to you, but I feel father figure. Whoa, my brain is just changing so much. My brain is showing me so much. Okay. What I was going to say was, it's almost this underlying thing. Now we know he went to the doctor. We don't exactly know what for, and that's okay, because he had showed me it was kind of like... Hold on. Okay, then you have a female with short hair, glasses, over there with him, white hair. This has to be a grandma, hands down. This grandma was taken care of toward the end of her life. She passed of something underlying medical that you can maintain, and then eventually it just comes up and gets her. And then this grandma over here, this lady, says thank you, and then somebody has like a special hanky or a special item of clothing in honor of her memory as well. And she's real talkative in the background here. And then his name is also Donald, who, wait, oh my God, my brother was bedridden. Okay, I'm bringing through other people, and I was just about to ask you if you have a younger male on the other side. Listen, I was just about to ask you if you had a younger male on the other side, okay? Because I feel the difference in these two people. There's a lot over there. Yep. She can only have white hair or no. No, she's showing me poofy silver hair for this older lady. This is just hinting to more so like grandma and giving me my own internal sign and symbol. If I'm going to see fluffy silver hair on somebody, I'll be like, that's somebody's grandma, you know? So, yes, aunt with silver hair. Okay, beautiful. So this was an aunt with silver hair over here on the other side. Beautiful. Good God, you guys need something better to do. Okay, for the love of mud. Okay, block. Confirm. Okay, beautiful. So your aunt has silver hair. Then the difference between your brother and your dad is, my brother had also, beautiful. So the aunt comes through with the silver hair. The dad, I'm pretty sure, came through with the fact that he served, had an of service, something he did for the community. This could also be a small business that supports the community, or being of service, or a firefighter, or a police officer, just something beyond ALS. Dad was a cop. Okay, so that's the difference. And then the bedridden male that I found earlier, which is some sort of like sickness or decline, or just, I get the word decay and I don't know why yet. Okay, that is the younger male on the other side that takes responsibility for not paying any attention to or helping himself in any way. Okay, Lou Gehrig's. I want to look up what Lou Gehrig's is. What is Lou Gehrig's? Lou Gehrig's disease is another name for ALS, a progressive neurodivergent disease that affects the nerve cells in the brain and the spinal cords. It affects the motor neurons and the cells responsible for sending signals from the brain to your muscles. And over time, those neurons die and you can't control muscle movement, so then they end up being bedridden. So yes, as I've written down on your piece of paper, which is front and back, and why I stopped putting messages on the back of these, ladies and gentlemen, I have a feeling that this is your brother, and then he's telling me right now that we have something in honor of his memory that he wore, like a watch or a hat or a shirt, and we have it like on display. Okay, we have it preserved specifically. So if it is his shirt, it's in a frame. Is it behind glass or something? So we've preserved it or displayed it in some way. Okay, then we have your aunt identifies this with the silver hair, and then you're right. Then there's the male on the other side that had an of-service job, which was the Donald you were looking for, that happens to have the exact same name as the first Donald, but defines himself completely differently. And then she says, yes, I have his ashes in a necklace, and I have his jacket. He was very sure of it. Very sure of the way that you were preserving his memory. So, I am going to acknowledge when I may be talking to more people on the other side. Just because you bring through one doesn't mean that's the only one on the line. And I'm not going to nibble just because you guys want to communicate with your loved ones and we say yes off the bat. I am going to stick to it and show you guys exactly who is on the other side for you coming through. So we got both Donalds and the aunt, and I'm happy about it. So thank you so much for coming on. And she said also another male, meanwhile, another brother there, and there's so much loss. It's incredible, the loss. Well, guess what? You thought you were just going to get one, and I think that the fact that 3 of them come through the door for you is pretty darn incredible. So it may have started out a little like, what is happening? But I love the fact that we just kept bringing them in. You are so very welcome. And hey, thank you for being so patient with me. I think that was the wait and the buildup was needed for all them to be able to come through. So totally awesome. 11-minute reading would hands down do it again. That was great. I love figuring it out with you. You're awesome.